Final Runnin with Remme, New Year's edition. First of all, a successful 2012. We ended with a win, which guarantees us an above 500 finish, best start to a season in 2004, 2005. With everything that's gone on, with all the injuries, we've had knees, we've had backs, we've had whatever you name it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this team's heart, and they showed it again tonight. They come out and against a Phoenix team that, you know, is reeling a little bit, but, you know, credit to our guys. They did a good job and put them away.
Absolutely. You knew this team could score. I mean, that was one thing coming in. The Phoenix could put up a lot of points on the board, and the Wolves were able to kind of, you know, run with them, if you will. And, you know, they did it even though Phoenix played a really efficient game. They were able to just hold on to the ball really efficiently, only 4 turnovers all game. And fortunately for the Wolves, one of the biggest turnovers was late in the game when Dante was able to come up with a steal and ended up getting one of the free throws that iced the game. But you're right, I mean, the heart that this team has shown throughout the season has been really important to the way that this group is developing. And, you know, they're sitting at 14 and 13, but they really could be a lot better than that. You know, they probably had 5 or 6 games where they ended up losing in the fourth quarter, where they were right there and they just didn't bounce their way. And so that's encouraging, and the fact that the way that they've handled that has been really encouraging too. They're not, you know, sulking in it. They're saying, you know, we know we're right there. We've got to fix a few things here and there. And you showed the way that they came back here tonight. Really showed just kind of the intensity that they can have late in the fourth quarter. They're growing up. They've talked about growing up as a team late in games, and this is one thing that they've kind of done tonight. And so it was really important, really nice to go on this road trip. We're going to go to Utah and Denver, 2 big games against divisional teams that are going to be right there in the thick of the playoff hunt. This was a big win for them.
Let's stay on the positive side of the tracks. Let's talk about the Russians and the dynamic duo. I think if I would have asked you in the preseason what you expected out of Andrei Kirilenko, I think we knew the answer. But Alexei Shved has by far exceeded everyone's expectations. Talk about his game and what he's brought to this team.
He's brought it a lot. In fact, I'm working on a feature right now for TimberWolves.com about that exact same thing. It's going to be coming out next week. And I've been talking to a lot of the players and coaches about what he brings to the team. And it's not just the court vision that he has. You can see that he's got a little bit of that flash, a little bit of that flair. You know, a lot of people look at him and see little flashes of Ricky here and there, just the way that he's able to handle the ball and really see the court. But one thing that really impressed a lot of his teammates, and Ricky included, is the way that he's able to, you know, put things on his shoulders every once in a while and be able to take those big shots, especially late in games. Whether they fall or not is kind of irrelevant right now. The fact that he is feeling like he can take those shots late in games is really important. And so, you know, that's really gained a lot of confidence in his teammates, knowing that, you know, this is a guy that has been through big game situations before. He's willing to take those shots, and more often than not, they've been falling. You saw him tonight, 11 points, 10 assists, another double-double. It's really good to see him be able to facilitate and also be able to take those shots. I think it's going to be fun to see how he develops over the course of this season. If you look at the way that he started out, even just the first game against Sacramento, started playing tons of minutes in the fourth quarter throughout November, and now where he's at, particularly with the shooting guard situation as it is right now, it's really important to be able to get good minutes out of him. And I think that Adelman has a lot of confidence in being able to go to him when they need to.
If I'd have told you before the season, well, when we knew both Kevin and Ricky were out, but when they came back, that Kevin specifically was going to struggle the way he has shooting, and I would have told you that we would have been at, you know, 14 and 13 through 27, you would have said what?
Well, you know, I mean, Kevin's such a big part of this team. First of all, I would have said you're kidding, because the way that he performed last season, particularly in March, he was just unbelievable. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing between last season, the way that he ended before he got hurt. He was just on fire offensively, and it was about the best we'd seen out of Kevin. And then you come into this year, he had the hand injury, kind of a setback. He talked this morning about how, you know, sometimes he wakes up, his hand feels a little bit like stone. And that's a problem, especially because that's a shooting hand. It's not like it's this guiding hand like he had a couple years ago when he had a broken hand as well. So, you know, if you would have told me that at that point in time, I probably would have said that, you know, they're probably going to be in a little bit of trouble, especially without Ricky and all of the other things that have happened this year. But even sitting at 14 and 13 right now, I think that this team has still a nice confidence about them. They know they can win. Whether or not it's fallen their way lately has been kind of the issue, but they know that they can get things done, and I think you're going to see that throughout the season.
I think that's a high sign. One more question for you. What can folks find at TimberWolves.com?
Well, right now we're actually working on some New Year's stuff, so definitely check out, put out the top 12 moments of 2012, and that's just kind of a highlight of, you know, the top 12 stories that happened throughout the course of the season, and a lot of things that you'll remember, photo galleries of some of the top photos from the 2012 year. Like I said, we're working on a feature with Alexei Shved, working on a feature about JJ Barea, who's also played really well this year so far. And I actually sat down with JJ for a podcast that's going up on Wednesday, 3 p.m. at timberwolves.com. Talked a lot about, they've got he's got a really strong following in his native country of Puerto Rico. Talked a little bit about the new year. A lot of good stuff. Always fun talking with him. So definitely check that out as well. And other than that, day-to-day game stuff. We've always got stuff going on. And then another thing too, on Tuesday, 5-on-5 around the league, John Folke and I sat down and we actually did a kind of an interesting New Year's resolution piece. We took 5 people from across the NBA and we said if we were these people, this is what our resolutions would be, so check that out as well.
Is Michael Beasley on that list?
Beasley was not on that list. No, he was not. We got, let's see, who do we got? We got Rick Adelman. We've got, let's see, well, Rick Adelman's definitely one of them. So we got quite a few. DeMarcus Cousins is one of them right there. Mike D'Antoni. And a couple other ones as well, so definitely check that out.
Beautiful. We'll do. We will see you next year.
Thanks a lot.
Mark Remme, Running with Remme here on myfox9.com.